right. Shalom, Yasharel. Shalom. All praises to the Almighty. I want to give a shout out to the Hebrews scattered to the four corners. It's good to be back, fellowshipping. Want to apologize for the pushback. I've been getting a lot of my subscribers telling me that they have not been getting notified. So, I just have to keep pushing back and making sure. But, this YouTube, they upload millions of videos every hour. So, you know, things are going to get lost in the mix. Might not always get notified. So just keep in mind, it is social media. It is owned by the heathens. And I mean, millions of uploads per hour on YouTube. So you got to wonder, where are they storing all that information at? All right. Well, as the brothers and sisters are starting to pile on here, we're going to go ahead and get started. Going to get this ball rolling. All right, Matthew 24 and verse 7, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." Now, that first part is a doozy because we're seeing the nations rise. Well, that's been going on for a while, but it's intensifying. We're seeing more and more of the nations rising up. And that's why I named this lesson, "All Nations Are Freefalling to Destruction." Because if you look at them, there's nowhere else for them to go. There's nowhere else for them to keep rising to. I mean, they're done. Now, to us, it may seem like, man, when is this thing going to end? When is all this going to just go ahead and crash out and just be done with it? I know many of you are like just tired. We're seeing these things happen. It's like they're repeating over. Like, come on, man, somebody, somebody jump the gun. Somebody make it pop off. These nations talking and talking, and nobody's really doing anything. It's just little stuff. But in the Most High's timing, we're going to see all these stuff intensify. Now, here's the good news about this. Now, we've seen that these Khazars, or the people who claim to be the biblical descendants of the Israelites, their slip is showing. And now the whole world is starting to see, okay, these people, they've been lying about everything. These so-called people who own everything, people are starting to see, what it is. Everybody's starting to see it for what it is. And this is all by the Most High's design. Regardless how long it takes, you got to understand that our time is nothing compared to the time of the Almighty. So I'm just telling you, Yasharel, just be patient and, keep being faithful, keeping these laws, commandments, and statutes, because we're seeing the end rapidly increase, and it's getting quicker. And if you read further down in Matthew, you see that these things are already happening and things are going to speed up. All right. We are going to be delivered by the Most High. Now, we don't know when that's going to be, whether it be in our time or after, but things are on schedule. Things are happening exactly the way the scriptures are saying that they're going to happen. All right. The Most High says that our land will be trodden underfoot by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles. So you got to understand that everything that's happening is the Most High putting the pieces together to fulfill his prophecy. All right. You all know this too well. It says, Revelation 2:9, it says, "I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Yehudim, or Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan." Who are the only people on earth that can fit this prophecy? All right. We see it in everyday media. We see it in everyday reality. There's only one group of people that can fit this prophecy. Who owns all the news industries? Who owns all the banks? That's right, the federal banks. Who owns all the movie outlets? Everything is monitored. Everything is censored. Everything is agendafied. All right. Everything is agenda driven. Who do you think is behind all of this? Read this again. I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Yehudim and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And if this is not enough, it says it again in 3:9. It says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yehudim and are not, but do lie. Now we know that these people lie through their teeth. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet and to know that I have loved you. All right. So it's just a matter of time before this thing all ends, and we can see it rapidly happening right before our very eyes. Now, these same people who claim to be the so-called biblical Israelites, I find it funny because anytime you talk to a Khazarian or somebody who claims to be Jewish, did y'all know? Do you notice that when you ask them, "Hey, where did your grandparents come from?" You know, the first thing they say is Europe. Have y'all noticed that? You ask any these so-called Khazarians and the people who call themselves the Jewish people, ask them, challenge them, ask them if you ever have a conversation with them. Where's your grandmother from? Guarantee they're going to say Europe. This is why DNA testing is banned in Israel, because they cannot trace their ancestors back to the original Israelites. They trace their ancestors to the Neanderthals, you know, the cave dwellers. That's where their ancestors came from. But they're claiming to be the biblical Israelites. Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, it's the biggest lie ever told. And now that their slip is showing, we're starting to see the evidence. We're starting to see that they're trying to do everything, even starting wars with Iran, even trying to take over all the natural resources in other countries. We see that. The Most High is just, he's quickly snatching the veil of all, off of all this wickedness. And what's done in darkness will always come to the light. And I always tell people, if you want to see where the true wickedness comes from, if you want to see where all the wickedness is coming from, follow the money. Follow the money. All right. And the people who are in this administration that's going on, they're benefiting from it, but not for long. It's all coming down. It's all coming down. And, Most High is using Iran to do their thing. And guess what? Iran had a part in our captivity too. So when the Most High is done using them to destroy our enemies, it's going to turn around and destroy them. It's like the Most High is playing these nations against one another. Just playing them, and they falling right into the trap. All right. So don't be fooled by the glorious looks of our heathens. Don't be fooled by the luxurious living, the luxurious living of our enemies. Don't be fooled. That's all a facade. That's all coming to an end. It's all a fairy tale. This nation is devolved on debt. That's it. Money's not even real. That money you carry in your pocket is not real. And we're already in the toes of Daniel and Daniel chapter 2, where it talks about the four world empires and how, where we are in Bible prophecy. So if you look at this image, that's it. We are in the toes. We are in the final moments. Now, those final moments can be the next 50 years, 100 years, who knows? It could be the next 10 years. Because remember, Scripture says that when the Most High throws his prophecies down, the last ones are going to come quickly. And we're already seeing, we're seeing a lot of diverse stuff with the weather patterns. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of changes in the weather, but they're becoming more frequent. They're becoming more. They're intensifying a lot more. So yeah, every year we're going to see record-breaking fires, record-breaking hurricanes and floods, what have you. Winters are going to be harsher in some areas. Right? The summers are going to be blazing. So this is here, I'm here to encourage you all, and it's worth fighting and keeping the commandments because our faith will be tested. Don't think that the government is not watching us, especially those like me and other brothers who are putting out information and putting out these things to our people. Now, we're not no threat to them. I mean, because we're not talking about coming together as a people and creating some kind of black power. They can care less about that. But what they really care about is making sure that our people are blind and dumb, not keeping the commandments. Because see, that's what the real power is. The real power is in keeping the commandments. And so our people realize that. Where was this place? Was it in Houston? I think. Y'all hear about that article that came out on during spring break? I think like 50,000, 55,000 plus people got HTT, herpes, and all kinds of venereal diseases. Did y'all hear about that? That's crazy, and majority of it was our people. So I mean, it just tells you that if our people don't wake up, many are going to just be destroyed. Many are going to just fall by the wayside. And man, how can you not see these things that are going on? And you got to wonder, man, what is going on with our people? How come they won't wake up? Because it wasn't meant for everybody to get this truth. My sheep hear my voice. And it's coming to a time where the chosen is getting fewer and fewer in number. Hosea 3, verse 4, it says, "For the children of Yasharel shall abide many days without a king and without a prince." So let me just go back for a minute. We're going to break this down. It says, "For the children of Yasharel shall abide many days without a king." All right. When King David was on the throne, all right, before the kingdom was split into two, into the southern and northern kingdoms, we had a king. Now, we wouldn't supposed to have kings. It was supposed to be the most high over everything. But, of course, starting with Saul, our people wanted to be like the wicked nations and have kings. So the most high said, okay, if you want to have kings, then you pick somebody of your own brethren. All right. And it says, and without a prince. All right. We know that the heir to the throne was always Israel. And without a sacrifice. Of course, the Levitical priesthood, we don't do the sacrifice anymore because Hamashiach came and fulfilled all that. And without an image. Now, it's a big one because if you look at all the images that they have of this so-called Christ, a white man, blonde hair, blue eyes, that is the image that everybody equates the Son of God with. All right. Even our people equate that. It says, and without an ephod and without a teraphim. So we would lose our language and we would lose our heritage, our dress, our way, our shamads, our fringes, all that gone. Now, it just says, for the children of Yasharel shall abide many days. And remember, a day in prophecy is a year. So a day for a year in prophecy. So many years without a king and without a prince and without a sacrifice and without an image, without an ephod and without a teraphim. And this is why, Yasharel, that we as a people, this is why when you see these camps, the Most High never told our people to start camps. Never, because they're trying to enact something from the Old Testament, that doesn't exist anymore. We don't have the Levites. We don't even know what tribe we're from. We're a mixture of the different 12 tribes. The moment that we were brought over here on these ships, that was it. We lost it. We were pretty much, even before that, we were pretty much gone. All right. And again, that was by design purpose. That was by the Most High's grand design. And I'll prove that one to you. Because it wasn't like we did put ourselves in slavery, but by our wickedness, but the Most High allowed it to happen. It says, and Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number amongst the heathen, whether Yahweh shall lead you. That's why it feels like wherever you are, across the United States, always feels like you're surrounded by your enemies. That's because of the prophecy. It says that, and Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number amongst the heathen. This is why everywhere we are, no matter where you live at in the United States, you're going to be outnumbered by the heathens. Why? Because you were scattered, and you will be left few in number. And this is why it seems like, man, where are people at? We're scattered to the four corners. That's just something that you're going to have to accept. There's no tiptoeing to that. I mean, there's no getting around that. I mean, you just have to accept that. That's what it is. And there ye shall serve gods, or Elohims, the works of men's hand, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. Now we have our people deployed in all manner of religions. All the religions of the earth, you'll find our people practicing those. Anything from Buddhism to Islam, you name it, you'll see our people, because this is what was said in the scriptures. This is how you know that this thing is real. This is how you know that everything that's happening right before our very eyes is so real. When you live with prophecy for so long, revelation seems like a shock. And a lot of people don't know what to make of what's going on. And what we're seeing right now is revelations like we've never seen before in Bible prophecy. That wood and stone, of course, that it said that we would serve would be Christmas trees and holidays, Easter bunnies, and searching for eggs and having these little nicklet heads in your homes and all kinds of stuff. And by the way, if you got some of that stuff in you need to research that, because you don't know what spirits you're bringing into your homes. And a lot of our people are bringing these spirits into their homes and wonder why the children are so possessed. We don't question anything. We just do it. This is why, we have to really search these scriptures and study like never before, and pay attention to the signs that's happening. We see everything that's happening. We're living in real time prophecy right now. We are the scattered children of Israel. And the Most High said that he will gather us from the four corners. We don't know what that looks like, but all I can say is that when he came and got Elijah, he came with a chariot of fire. All right. So Most High doesn't use man's devices. When he said he's coming, and you can, you can put that on everything. Nothing new under the sun. This happened before. First Maccabees 3, and this is a precept to Hosea 3:4. It says, First Maccabees 3 and 47. It says, and laid 48. It says, and laid open the sefer of the Torah. The Torah is the first 5 books. It's the law. says, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So people try to say that we never know what Hamashiach looked like. Of course we did. We had images. There was images, but they've been hidden from us. It says, so they brought also the priest garments and the first fruits of the tithes and of the Nazarenes they stirred up, who had accomplished their days. Now, this was during the Greeks, and then after that, the Romans. But, they took all our stuff. And it's been hidden ever since. So you have to wonder, like, of all the captivities we've been in, this is the only captivity where we were dispersed to the four corners of the earth. Only. There's nowhere in scriptures that talks about that we were dispersed to the four corners, because we were always captivity together. Egypt, Babylon, Medes and the Persians, the Greeks, Romans, we were all together. Granted, the northern tribes were scattered throughout the Mediterranean areas in Africa, parts of Africa, but they were not scattered. They were not dispersed to the four corners of the earth. Because that's when Paul and them boys, that's when they, when they were going through the different areas throughout certain parts of Africa and the Mediterranean, they knew where the 10 tribes were. That's why these Christians today, when they talk about the Gentiles, they have no idea that that's referring to the 10 lost tribes. There was never anywhere in the scripture where it talks about our enemies, heathens, where get salvation. And they never talked about that. People don't research. They don't understand truly what the scripture says about that, because when they hear Gentiles, they're thinking white boy, they're thinking the Asian boy, but you got to dig beyond that and realize what this gospel was all about. It was all about reaching the 12 tribes of Israel, because there's only 12 gates. People better wake up and realize Ezekiel chapter 20 says, and I will bring you out from the people and will gather you. Oh, wait a minute now. Didn't the most that we just read in Deuteronomy 4:27, it says the Most High scattered us to the four corners of the earth, and we be left in few in number. Now he's saying, thousands of years later, he says, and I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. Now, those Khazarians over there, you can't claim this, because you wouldn't brought from the other countries and put into that land. You came over there on planes and horsebacks and all kinds of stuff. And there was no power in it. The United States set that up. But it says right here, when the Most High gathers his true people, which are the Negroes scattered to the four corners, he says he's going to do it with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. Now, that doesn't seem like a quiet event. That don't seem like something that's going to be in secret. That's going to be a worldwide event. Why do I say worldwide? Because we are scattered to the four corners of the earth. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So yes, we are going into the wilderness again. So if we are alive when the Most High comes back, everybody's going to the wilderness, whether you're wicked or not. Everybody is going into the wilderness, just like we came out of Egypt. The Most High didn't destroy everybody right then and there after they came out of Egypt, because they had a chance to do right. Did y'all notice that? So if you go and read those accounts, they came out of Egypt. A lot of them were wicked, still practicing idolatry and everything, but they had a chance to get right in the wilderness, but they chose not to. Many of them chose to murmur and complain. It's going to be the same thing, Yashiro, when we come out of this Egypt that we're scattered to the four corners. So again, if we are alive when Hamashiach returns, we are all going to be gathered into the wilderness. That's what the scripture says. It didn't say that I'm just going to gather the righteous or destroy the wicked. No, he says that he. Let me read this. Let me read this again. He says, "And I will bring you." Let me read that first part again. It says, "And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered." He didn't say anything about righteous or wicked. So that means that we're all coming out together, whether you're righteous or wicked, because all that's going to get corrected in the wilderness. It says, "And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face." It says, "Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness and of the land of Mizraim, so will I plead with you, says Adonai Yahweh." So let me tell you something. If you are living righteously right now, and if you're living to everything the scripture says with all your heart, mind, and soul, keeping these commandments, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. You're going to be on the Most High's good side. All right. If you're living righteously and if you're striving to keep these commandments, you're going to be good. It's the ones like the Egypt of old, the murmurers, the complainers, the ones that's going to try to buck against the Most High. Them the ones that's going to catch that L. And it says, "And I will cause you to pass under the rod." Now, what is a rod? The rod is used for correction. It's used for measuring. It's used for straightening. "And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant." What is that covenant? The promise that was given to Abraham, passed all the way down to Isaac, and Jacob, to the 12 tribes, and unto us today, the Negroes scattered to the four corners. Yes, that's right. You in the comic sections, you are of the promised seed. Everybody in this comic section that is a Negro, you are of the promised seed, whether you realize that or not. Yes, Mashiach is coming back for us. So if we're alive when this happens, we are all going to go into the wilderness together. It ain't going to be no, "I'm leaving you here, you coming." No, we're all going. Because here's where the correction is going to come, right here. You read verse 38, and it says, "And I will purge out from among you the rebels." And see, this is where all the purging is going to happen. So like I said earlier, if you're the type of person, if you're living righteously with all your heart, mind, and soul, and you keep the commandments, you're going to be good. You ain't going to have nothing to worry about. It's going to be those wicked brothers and sisters that's going to be purged if they do not change when the Most High pleads with them. They want to continue in their ways like our people did in Egypt of old when they were coming out of Egypt. That's why, they wandered for 40 years. Now, I don't know how long we're going to be in the wilderness for. I don't know, but we got to learn the commandments, I know we're going to probably be in there for a while, maybe 1,000 years. It says, "And I will purge out the rebels. I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me." See, those who buck. "And I will bring them forth out of the country wherein they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharel. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh." And that is going to be, and I believe that could be closer than we can imagine. Yasharel, I am not a predictor of times. I do know Bible prophecy, but we do not know the time when this is going to take place. But I know it's soon, because we can't continue to live on this earth with everything being depleted, no nutrients. You can't even find the seeds in the fruits anymore. Even the air we breathe is toxin. Everything we toxin. Even what you call so-called organic is toxic. You can't. Everything is just jacked up, Yashua. Everything, and we all mentally messed up. Our people. We're all mentally messed up, and let's just admit it. We are a sick people. The scripture says that we are a stiff-necked people, and we need to be healed. And that's what the wilderness is going to be for. Won't that be the day if we all get gathered together, and I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying, for of course is, not going to happen, but let's just say next year, the Most High decided to come back and get his people. He's like, you know what? I'm coming back, because if I delay, people are going to get worse. Let's say he came back next year and gathered us in the wilderness. Man, that would be a sight. I mean, I don't know, some of us would want to be alive during that time, but that would be a sight. I know that's wishful thinking. That's all it is, Yashua. It's just wishful thinking. I'm not saying, again, I'm not predicting no time or date. We have no idea when things are going to take place, but we do know that through the signs of what's happening on this earth and the way things are going, that we cannot survive on this earth for too much longer. The way things are going, either we're going to be destroyed completely, even all humanity is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. The way things are going, if the Most High does not intervene. This is how you know that we're so close to the end. So all nations are free falling to destruction. We're seeing it, Yasser, in real time. We're seeing the nations just crashing. People are just running for fear. They don't know where their next meal is going to come from. They don't know how they're going to pay their rent. But Yasharel, we've been there and plus some. So we've been at the bottom for so long. This stuff doesn't bother us. Our enemies, of course, they're so used to their privilege and everything. It affects them. But for us, we lose a job. We might have a shot of Hennessy and then, go out the next day and look for another job. And that's how we handle stuff. What our enemies call a rock, between a rock and a hard place, we call it Monday. You already know how we get down. I mean, man, this stuff, what can you do to us? Like how much further can you drag us down to the bottom? Like what more can you do to us? You done drugged us up. You done poisoned us, done vaccinated all our people. More of our people are coming out with autism. Like what more can you do? Try to wipe our seed out. Can't do it. You just can't do it. Our seed cannot be wiped out because the Almighty said that you would not wipe the seed of Israel off the face of the earth. Now, everybody else can be wiped out, but because of the Most High's promise. Now, when he gathers us, just know that all hell is going to break loose with the other nations even more. You think these nations are fighting now? You think these nations are coming together against one another now? Just wait. Y'all should go watch it. If you haven't seen the Book of Eli, go watch that tonight. Go watch the Book of Eli. I truly believe that they probably, whoever the director were, they read the last two books of Ezra, because that's exactly how Ezra explains what it's going to look like. These people are going to be wandering place to place while we're going to be all gathered into the wilderness. They're going to be, man, it's going to be crazy. So Yasharel, don't be wicked. Be on the side of righteousness. That's all I have to say. Just be on the side of righteousness. So make it easy for ourselves, so that when the Hamashiach does come back with his thousands of angels, we can already be on that side where we're going to choose to do right. We don't want to be like the wicked ones of old that had to get destroyed in Egypt, that had to get swallowed up by the ground. We don't want to be like that. That's not the route we want to go. And everybody who has followed my channel, y'all know me. Y'all know that I don't care nothing about getting money. I don't care about donations. None of that stuff. Never have. This is not about that. All I want to do is see our people make it. I want to see our people cleanse. I want to see our people get the hell out of here. But we can't do it by ourselves, Yasharel. We got to encourage our people to keep these commandments. And the only way we're going to do that is we're going to have to correct one another. We're going to have to pray for one another. And yeah, at times we're going to have to righteously rebuke one another. But man, I can't wait until we can keep the Shabbat together in one place. Don't worry about, all the wickedness of our people. If we go into the wilderness sooner than we think, oh, trust me, all that wickedness is going to be self-corrected, because we're going to have the Hamashiach with us. We're going to have the 144. We're going to have the 24 elders. So you know that, hey, there's going to be order. So you ain't got to worry about people getting out of place. There will be order in the wilderness. Like I said, for those of you who are keeping these commandments with all your heart, mind, and soul, keep on doing that, because you're going to make it easier on yourselves in the wilderness. Don't be like the stiff-necked brothers and sisters, because when we have to get out of here, it ain't going to be good for them. They may be able to change, but I don't know, because wickedness is a hard thing to change if you practice it so much and if you love it so much. That's right. So it is going to be the greatest union. It's going to be the greatest united coming ever. And remember, the Most High, Hamashiach says that he's not going to even drink new wine until he drinks it with us. So, get excited. At the same time, be aware, keep your eyes open, because things are happening much faster than we can even realize. With the quickness. That's right, sister. Yep, it's gonna be the biggest family reunion ever. Man, that's gonna be the day. Wouldn't that be crazy? Hamashiach came back within a year, and we all went into the wilderness. And that would be insane. And what if it was on the Shabbat, y'all? Like, think about it. What if? And I'm just, again, wishful thinking. I'm not saying that that's the way it's going to happen, but think about it. What is the number one day that everybody is being wicked? It is on the Shabbat. It is on the Shabbat. So what if Hamashiach came back on the Shabbat to get his people? Oh man, that would be a surprise. Nobody wouldn't be expecting that. Everybody would be expecting that Sunday, because that's when most of the world goes to church on, Christians. So Yasharel, until next time, we gotta keep swinging that axe, keep swinging that sword. But I am here to encourage you. Just, hey, look, I know I get it. A lot of you are tired as hell. I am too. But we didn't write the scriptures, and we are not the Most High. We are Most High's chosen children. So we have to accept what we have no control over. But what we do have control over is keeping these commandments. That we can do. We can't make the Almighty come back no quicker or later, because he's going to come right on time. He's going to come as the Father has scheduled him to come at his appointed time. And it would behoove us all, as the people of the Almighty, to start working on ourselves, because this earth that we live on, this for temporarily it belongs to the heathens, unfortunately, because of our wickedness, it's in their hands. They're over us. So this is their heaven. It's not our heaven. I did a lesson, a white man's heaven is a black man's hell. And you already know, Yasharel, that we've always been going through hell in this place. With all the odds against us, we still managed to even just a little resiliency to bounce back up. But even with that, it's starting to wear out with the red light flashing. So it's wearing on our people. And I truly believe the Most High is hearing our prayers. He hears our voices. He hears our cries. All right. So I want to encourage you to be steadfast. Even with the odds against us, be steadfast. Don't look at it as, hey, you're defeated, because you are a chosen vessel. You are the children of the Almighty. We are the apple of the Most High's eye. So we need to act like royalty. Even though, we're poor in nature, we might not have the money, we might not have all these glorious things, but we do have the promise, and nothing can beat that. So live like royalty, live holy, Yasharel. Walk with your head up and claim this victory. Claim this faith, this lost faith that we're getting back to. All right. Practice your heritage. It's your birthright. Keep these laws, commandments, and statutes. It is your birthright. And by all means, if you don't want your birthright, man, that's on you. So with that being said, I'm going to bid you a hearty shalom and stay strong. Until next time, all praises to the great I am.